Hi, I'm Hui Lee. Today I'm going to share a bit about my baptism story. I'm Vietnamese American. My mother is Catholic and my father is Buddhist. Yeah, so growing up with parents with different faith backgrounds was kind of interesting because I didn't really practice any Buddhist practices. I didn't go to temple or anything like that. So I grew up predominantly just in the Catholic faith. Faith meant to me growing up, it was really, it felt like just like another class. Looking back on it, it just felt like something that my mother wanted me to do, that I needed to learn about, and a lot of the practicing was like rules based. It felt like these are the things I had to do to make my mother happy, to be closer to God. So believing in God when I was younger honestly felt like homework. These are the simple things they want me to focus on, and that was schoolwork, faith, religion. So a lot of it was, well, I'm going to do this because my parents were asking me to do so. When I got to college, it was a natural separation that no one was really telling me how I was supposed to practice, and I never really got into the habits of I wouldn't say not going to church regularly. No one was telling me to go to church regularly, right? No one was waking me up on Sunday at 9 o'clock to rush us to church. So I think there was a natural falling out where I didn't really have it in my forefront to practice, to pray, to really look for God. I think the transition from when I was younger into when I was in college was, I guess, a sense of freedom, or I guess rebellion. There wasn't like my parents breathing down my neck about how I was supposed to do things. And because of the way they raised me and how they did everything for me, a lot of everything I was learning was for the first time. So I was kind of an open door to trying to explore my own things, experiment, and really make my own mistakes. I think looking back on it, the things that I would get in trouble for was not always right or wrong or good or bad. It was just that I've always learned don't do that or do this instead. This is something I realized recently was my thought of like what prayer was very different than what I think about it as today. I think growing up it was like if you do something wrong, you say a few Our Fathers, Hail Marys, and that's that, right? And I think up until like I was an adult, I never really had like an open conversation in terms of prayer with God, or so that was an interesting shift of mindset, and I think that's how I kind of began to have a closer relationship with God, was being able to openly talk and not thinking of it as like going in with parameters, and how to actually approach the situation. Towards the end of college, I met Veronica, who's my partner now, and when I met her, she made it explicitly clear that faith was very important to her. And I think even with the experience I had in college, I had always believed in God, even though I wasn't, even though I didn't necessarily have the tools that would bring me closer to Him. And obviously, with how long our relationship has gotten, it became more and more clear of like what that actually meant. And as I was meeting her family, how my thought process of what a relationship with God was very different than how her family and how she experienced it. Looking at their lives, it was so integrated in everything they would do. Veronica's father is a pastor, so speaking to him was pretty interesting because on one end, I don't know if he's talking to me as a pastor or if he's talking to me as her father. And a lot of times that would get blended in, but I would hear what he was saying in terms of questioning, what's really stopping me, right? As much as I would constantly say that I believe in God, it doesn't really look like I do. Veronica's younger brother, Evan, closest to her in age, was baptized. It raised a bunch of questions for me. Like, why, right? That gave me an opportunity to kind of pick his brain, as well as Veronica's dad's brain about like why someone would want to go through that experience again, what the purpose of it is, and what the meaning of it is. I think I've had enough exchanges with people who have had faith backgrounds and my own kind of walk that a lot of it would feel coincidental. But I think looking back on it, a lot of it was just, they say, right, the Holy Spirit works in mysterious ways. That a lot of it was actually not only, like God working through people as well as myself, but it really felt like a lot of opportunities where I would be invited back and that I could come back to faith and not really feel like I did something wrong for being gone for so long. And I think the timing of High Rock Cambridge asking if anyone wanted to get baptized, and being more involved in the church and beginning to serve, it just felt like a rightful timing thing. I think oftentimes, I think people might be looking for more profound reasons, but I think for us it just all made sense. For myself to be able to like practice and seek, I want to be able to create that for others as well. And I think that's something that me and my partner talk about oftentimes. Wherever we can and things that we're good at, we'll try to help. But trying to do that every day or praying every day, I'm trying to do a lot more. What I hope is that we're building a congregation or a safe space where people feel like they're connected, that they can that they're not just stopping by, but they're actually building relationships that last longer than however long they're here for.